we've all felt that anger when we call a company to complain about something and you simply can't get through to a human being. It's really frustrating. And more we're seeing businesses turn to robots. Isn't it lovely when you know that you're talking to a bot to deal with the public?
Drives you. Crackers. One man... I was trying to find a polite word.
I know you were searching then, weren't you?
One man in Stockton is on a mission to make it a legal right to talk to a human when you ring up. Quite right, too. Our North East of England reporter, Rachel Sweeney, joins us now. I mean, Rachel... I can only imagine, get in touch, gbviews at gbnews.uk, that most people will just be going, yes, we need this to happen.
This guy, it's ambitious, yes, but if he pulls this off, he will be a king among men. Can you imagine? So many people feel passionately about this subject. His name is Martin Anderson. He's the CEO of a contact call centre in Stockton. It's called Lemon Business Solutions. He thinks it should be our legal right to complain to an actual person. It is so frustrating when you're really angry and you're annoyed about something and, you know, you're on that call and it says, is this what you want? And you have to say, no. And there's always that accent barrier, I find, in the northeast of England as well. So he's been inspired by Spain, because in Spain, the counterpart for our Minister for Small Businesses, Paul Scully, has brought a draft bill in to say that it should be every citizen's legal right to complain to a real person. In Spain, it's called the Customer Attention Bill, and it's expected to go into law this year. It'll apply to companies with 250 employees or more, or an annual turnover of £42 million. But it will automatically apply to utility companies. And that's what Mr. Anderson says is so important here, because older people, vulnerable people should be able to speak directly to a person if they have problems with their electricity bill, for example. Now, I asked Mr. Anderson, have we lost the art of consumer conversation?
The fact that we're having to look at legislation baffles me. Look at legislation to have a human speak to a human. That's where we're at right now. Now, the scary thing is, it's only the tip of the iceberg, really. The technology in the contact centre world is starting to come mainstream. It's been around for a while. People talk about chatbots, voice bots, queues, IVRs, waiting, etc. This is nothing new. But we're really starting to see that speech technology drive now into mainstream companies. And if we don't get handling it right now, you know, going forward, it'll be even harder just to speak to a person. And don't get me wrong, technology is a fantastic thing. We want technology. We have it in our business. It automates tasks which we don't necessarily need a human to do. But then what we should be looking to do is get our agents, our customer service team, on the front line, not making people wait, allowing them to speak to people quickly, resolve queries that, whilst may seem trivial at certain points, are very, very important to the people who are calling up.
Now, he wants this to be legislation. It's something he feels very passionately about. He's not just sitting doing nothing. He's written to the Minister for Small Business. He wants to make some changes, and we'll be following this story on GB News. I think it's something that everybody's interested in. We all have these stories about complaints gone wrong, don't we? My mother, for example, once took a roast chicken in a penny to our supermarket because she couldn't get through to a person. She took the roast chicken to a customer service desk to complain because she wanted to speak to a person, because that is natural. That is what us humans want to do. We want someone to say to us, I understand, I'm sorry, and this is what we're going to do. So I'll keep you posted on this. Fingers crossed. Let's watch this space.
It's an interesting campaign, isn't it? Because I think we all would prefer to speak to a human being. But you do need to speak to a human being who's trained and who actually speaks your language as well. Because, I mean, and I'm not trying to be racist here because, well, if it is, I once got through to somebody who had such a strong Scottish accent, I literally could not understand what he was saying. Oh. And what do you say then? You ask them to say, could you just say that again? Could you just say that again twice? You think, is it rude to ask them to say it again a third time? And you think, well, it is. And in the end, you just sort of say, sorry, can't hear you, and put down the phone and try again. So I don't know. If we're going to have human beings in call centres answering like this, they've got to be properly trained, I guess.
I think so.